you all keep opening up businesses in the US. And in your article, you talked about, basically, you said Canada needs to become far more pro-business. If you think about what you've experienced so far, is it possible to kind of break that up into tactical stuff, like from Abdullah's story, like the things that make you think that why we need to become more pro-business?
I'll talk from my experience, right? I don't know what other businesses are experiencing, because some people might say Canada is great for businesses, right? So, in specific industries, they might be doing very well. But especially when we first started, right? Let's say funding ideas was very difficult. Canada is very stuck with, real estate. They're amazing, no problem. Real estate will give you money. When it comes to something that's just a tiny bit risky, they back off and they don't want to take risks unless you have 20 million guarantees and you can do this. So I think that stops a lot of businesses from starting.
Welcome back to the Newcomers podcast, people, where I explore what it means to be an immigrant with immigrants like myself. Today I'm with Abdullah Sharief, who we had an article about him, I would say 2 months or so ago. And we talked a bit about your journey to coming to Canada, choosing Canada and all that. But why I really wanted to get you on the podcast and have a conversation was because I said, it felt like we compressed things a lot in the article, which was we basically just went from, you moved to Canada, you door-to-door salesman, and then you talked a bit about running an agency and then Panda Hub. And I wanted to just say, let's talk through all the little things that happened in between and how you went from door-to-door salesman to Panda Hub co-founder and chief marketing officer today. And I think my first question, where I want to kind of kick off with is, door-to-door sales is hard. It's hard. It's really, really hard.
Yeah.
Why did you choose that? Why?
I'll be honest with you. So when I landed in Canada, I only had $2,000 in my pocket, right? So I had to find a place to stay. And I was very fortunate enough that there was a guy who had a condo, was kind enough to let me in and stay at the place and rent the room. But to me, I had to find a job fast, so I was applying a lot on Indeed, jobs with no experiences and whatnot, and weeks and weeks were passing and there was no interviews. And then eventually this company calls me. They do water filtration systems. So they were hiring for door-to-door sales, because when they hire you, you don't need any experience, and basically they hire everybody, right? It's you come through the door. If you sell, we keep you. If not, you're only paid for commission, paid for sales that you actually do. So I go there. On the first interview, I talked to the guy. He said, "What's your sales experience?" I walk him through my experience and whatnot, and he said, "Okay, sounds good. We'll let you know." Then the second day they call me. I go there. It's like a cult, right? So it's big meetings and about motivation. They ask you what your goals are, and they break it down per sale, per week, per sale, or you need to sell this amount to make this. So door-to-door sales people would understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, I eventually did it for 3 months. I made some money with it, but I didn't see myself continue because there was no growth, or there was no end goal. It was just you going out there and door-to-door selling, and the company was not built with the right foundation and the right values, if that makes sense. So I left that and I started a digital marketing agency because I'm a bit tech savvy, and something about me that I realize is I can really see opportunities in a different way. If I look at a business idea, I can know how it can sell, what to say, and how to sell it, and how to position it. So I saw that. I'm seeing it now more in myself than before, but I always had that edge, okay, I know what's going to work, what people would like, and how to solve their problems and whatnot. So, and I was tech savvy, and I knew a lot of businesses, they were not running, let's say, ads, social media marketing properly. So I started doing so, and I onboarded a lot of martial arts studios and fitness studios. I ran their ads. They're very successful. I did that for a year and a half. and then COVID hits, right? And you lose all the clients because everybody in the fitness industry shuts down for six
Yeah.
months. So yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah,
So two things, two questions actually. I think the first one is because I know when we were talking about the article, you wanted to study medicine.
yeah, true. Yeah, yeah. Forgot
And
that.
I'm just like that's such a that jump is like 10 valleys high, wide, honestly. Yeah, like so like how did that job? Like I think it's just understanding that job. Like how did you get there?
Well, to me, I mean, a lot of people struggle with this. A lot of people have credentials. A lot of doctors are here in Canada who are they were practicing medicine or they were doctors in other countries. They come here and they cannot do that. So, and it's very unfortunate. So, in my situation, I was in Turkey. I was studying medicine for. I did 2 years of med in
Hmm.
Turkey, and in Turkey, there's no you don't have to do an undergrad and then do an MCAT and then go to medical
Hmm.
school. Over there, you just go straight to medicine, right? So I
Okay.
did that for 2 years and a half, and then I had the opportunity to come to Canada, and I took advantage of it. Of course, as a Syrian, because there's no
Yeah.
stability for us as
Yeah.
Syrian people. Yeah, for me, but I had to make a decision because if I needed to continue, I would still be studying now, and the path was difficult and was choppy because first of all I had to not only will it will take too long, but because okay, so in Turkey I was like I was doing what's it called, like what I was studying was medicine, but if
Yeah.
I came here I have to go and take an undergrad in
Hmm.
science and then go to med school after I passed the MCAT exam. So the whole situation for me was messed up, and I knew that that's the path that it's going to be too long, and I didn't want it to
Yeah.
take. And eventually, yeah, the change. And unfortunately, a lot of people are in the same situation. They're doctors. They're very good
Yeah.
doctors. Could
Yeah.
be one of the top doctors in Canada, but they cannot practice.
Yeah. It's
So
I mean,
yeah,
I don't make the regulations. I'm just I have a lot of not very nice opinions about that process. But again, I also understand that, or I've come to understand that these things just take much longer than we want them to take. And though sometimes just untangling all the things that have existed before is much harder. But the
yeah,
sad part is that they're just people's lives in the middle who are stuck and who are frustrated and who are unhappy. And so it's kind of finding that balance. So it's really good to actually see someone like you who kind of says, okay, you know what? I'm going to try find my life somewhere else and just get some. Because this reminds me of a conversation I had with the CEO of Triec, Simon, and he talks about how this thing about immigration, which is like, can you help someone see a career, not a job?
mm,
And maybe medicine is not a very good example because medicine is a bit very, very, there's very specific things you need to do to become a doctor. So almost saying
yeah,
someone to go do something else is hard. But I'm just kind of generalizing right now that a lot of times when someone comes, it's like, okay, back home, I was doing A, B, C, D, E, which means I had certain skills. And what other careers exist in Canada that I can take down my skill set and go do? Just like for you, like, okay, I think I understand. I've enjoyed playing around with tech. I can understand how to position something. Oh, let me go try digital marketing. And then you go
yeah,
do that. And which is that thing about, hey, I want to build a career. Because a lot of people get stuck in that, okay, I used to be this, and this is who I want to be, that sort of thing. The other question I was going to ask was, even though you made that call to change, did you ever regret it at all? Especially like when COVID hit, when that door sales hit, like, did you ever go like, should I have gone back to this medicine thing? Or it was like, ahead.
honestly, I don't. I wouldn't say that I regret my decisions. To me, I'm a type of person. Okay, if those are the cards that I'm dealt, I'm just gonna play them the best as I can.
Yeah.
So I didn't regret my decision, and I do think everything happens for a reason, and I think it's just a path that everyone takes. I mean, no one has a perfectly aligned,
Mm,
life,
mm,
where nothing wrong happens. I
mm,
think everybody has a specific journey. It's just different for each one.
yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't say I would regret my decision to not go back to medicine. I mean, I just had to do what I had to do, right? The challenge comes up. There's two things you can do. You can react to it, or you can act on it. So
Mm.
to me, I have to act on it. That's just the type of person I am. So how can I go beyond it? How can I go around it? So and there's nothing I can do. I cannot stop, right? So that's
Yeah,
just my
man.
character.
Yeah, man. Like, I had this friend I was talking to yesterday. They're going through a pretty hard time.
Yeah.
And I wish I could get someone else to just kind of to say to them what you were just saying. Because this is what I was saying to them yesterday, is like, you already did the hard thing of just moving here. Like that is a very hard thing, to just come here
Yeah.
and start your life again. And you could do two things. You can sit down and wallow in self-pity, and I understand if you do that. Or you can be like, you know what? These are the cards I'm dealt with. I'm just going to start showing up every single day and find my way through the muck, and just sort of know that it might take much longer, but I'll get it done. Like, because it feels like,
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I completely get that, but for some people it's more difficult than others, and especially with people that are coming here with families and kids,
yes.
it tends to be very difficult. But I do think I had, an easier path just because I was in my 20s, I was young, so
Mm.
we can adapt very quickly. But yeah, people that come here with families and kids and whatnot, it's definitely harder to adapt. But yeah, I can see that why people can have like self pity and then feel bad. But again, if you're going to a new country, you should expect a change. You should expect something. You have to change something. You can't just
Yeah.
do the same things you were doing in the country where you came from. So it's
Yeah.
just a different culture, different country, different things to do.
Yeah. I think that because, like, I moved here with a wife and a kid, and like it was tough in a way, and but I think I still say I'm one of the lucky immigrants. Um, but I do think that, I think one thing is, people don't fully understand how hard it is to immigrate before they immigrate.
Mm, yeah,
I
the
don't think people,
process.
yeah, people usually underestimate that. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's like, oh, you just showed up. Oh, welcome.
yeah, exactly.
They don't know. Yeah, they don't
people,
know
people
what we had
people
to
do
go
that.
through.
Yeah, people do that. Like, people do that. And I think one of the weakness of the human species is, until we experience it more often than not, we don't really believe it most of the time. A lot of us don't have this ability to listen to something and be like, that could also happen to me, and plan for it.
Yeah.
We always think that we might be different. But I want to get back to where we are, which is, you did say this about, like, basically the sales job taught you rejection, discipline, how to connect with people, and all that. And then you went on to do the gym, the agency that was helping with the gym
Hmm.
people, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
Any of those lessons come in handy during that period where basically you're asking yourself, okay, what next? Like, what's going to happen next? Everyone is at home, and
Honestly, that's funny that you say that. I was actually outside my house more during COVID than before COVID. So yeah, that's interesting. It's just like okay, so everyone's at home. I got to get out to do something. And I realized that cleaning services or detailing, it's an essential service.
yeah.
So I knew that if I started that, it won't be an issue, right? And people need cleaning services, especially at the beginning where everyone was
Damn.
freaked out. They want their car, to get clean, sanitized, and whatnot. So that was a big factor. So I just went ahead and okay, let's do this. Let's start that. So
Are you serious?
yeah.
Wait,
I
wait.
was like,
That's how Panda Hub just started. Like, with sanitized cars and all that stuff.
well, yeah. Well, before I had a okay. So I started detailing myself. Okay, with a different partner. We did that for
Yeah.
6 months, I would say. We got a shop and whatnot. And then I met Reza through I was doing marketing and he reached out and we it just clicked and he wanted the same vision as well. So this is how Panda evolved, was
Mm.
after the fact that I had a detailing business for 6 months. So I knew the ins and outs. I learned everything about the industry from A to Z. What detailers think about, how they approach things, what their mentality is, and even the customer as well. So, having domain expertise is very important if you want to excel in a specific industry. So yeah, it came by when the Panda Hub came by when he reached out, and he said that he had the same vision and whatnot, and he wants to take this nationwide. And we talked, we had a meeting, and we were on the same page, and started slowly from 2020, I think, till 2020 till now, 2025. So it's been five
Yeah.
years.
How
It's
wait,
yeah,
just like
it's
how did
yeah,
the name Panda Hub? Like why Panda Hub? Like how did that come about?
yeah. Everyone asking me this question. Well, I was at Reza's place, and he had a panda mascot, like the big those mascot that people wear. So yeah, and we didn't want to choose a name that's related to detailing because
Mm,
we knew we wanted to build something that's gonna go beyond that. Because eventually we're gonna add tire change and finding car washes and oil, anything basically car services that you want to book, you can do through Panda Hub.
okay.
And we want to make sure that you get the best experience and the best value, and um, and a trusted, you can find a trusted service provider in Panda Hub. So we knew we wanted to do that, and we didn't want to choose a name that has detailing in it. So we
Yeah.
were thinking like I don't know, Google, Apple, Facebook, all those like one name, two name companies that are not tied to the services that they do.
Yeah.
And we wanted to go with Panda. I think Panda Cleaning and Co. But that name was taken because we were on the phone with the lawyer, and she said, okay, there's Panda Hub available. Okay, so Panda makes sense, Hub and Panda. So because it's a hub for cars, let's say, and we just chose this name and we registered it. So yeah, we didn't think too much of it. We were just okay, let's choose a name that's universal and can you know be
I like
there. And
I like that actually because there's this thing
yeah.
people say about. I think as entrepreneurs we sometimes we obsess so much about the name.
Mm,
I mean, yeah, if you can get a good name that's catchy, that's great. And and if you can get all the two syllable, I mean, I've heard people say, or make it a two syllable like panda, that kind of thing. Like just
yeah,
make it two
yeah,
syllables and not start because it's easy to remember and recall.
yeah.
But I also
You know
think
what's
that
in
sometimes, yeah, sorry, continue.
sorry, you know what's interesting? The name doesn't matter, right? The name of the company doesn't matter. You can choose any name that you want. What matters most is the clarity of your offering or your service or the product that you're selling. You can have a random name, but if you get too creative with what you're selling, like you want to name it something special, people will be confused. Like for example, naming services or naming packages or naming products. Like don't try to, I don't know, if you're selling a commodity, don't try to come up with like a very unique name because people will be a little bit confused of that. So, but the name of the company, you can do whatever you want, but make sure that the message that you're um, want the customers to understand, make sure it's clear what you're
Mm,
selling, the service or the product, because people don't want to they don't want to get confused. So, but yeah, name, we knew it wasn't going to be a big deal for us.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Because really the name is really I feel like names are like boxes and then all the work you do, like you say, be clear about the service you provide, your
Yeah,
products, all the marketing, everything now just kind of goes into that box. That's the
yeah,
name. And then people hear that name and be like, oh, it's Abdullah and Reza and the team that run this business called Panda Hub. Because people will be like, oh, I want a cool name. Yes, yeah, it would be good to get
a
Apple.
cool name is nice. Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be good to get Apple. Like, I mean, Apple is
yeah.
so cool. Like, but if you can't, just get something good and move and do the work. So now, 5 years.
5 years go by. Yeah.
If you look back then and now, did you see all that you're doing right now? I mean, I know you said this stuff about services and stuff,
Yeah.
but if you look back at 2020 when you and Reza were trying to start and stuff, and you see all you guys have gone through right now, one, did you see everything? Like, did you imagine you'll be here in 5 years' time? Because I think you guys have
That's a
grown
good
really
question.
fast, honestly.
We grew fast, to me, because it's very hard to imagine where you would land in 5 years. You definitely need to have goals,
Yeah.
but to me, I see it in a way where okay, so I have this opportunity. How can I extract it as much as I can? Like, what's the best possible scenario for that? And thinking about it and imagining it is not gonna do anything. You have to actively do it. So to me, I knew that we needed to do quote unquote work, or we need to do something, take action for us to be at the position where we are now. So to me, I don't really look. I was like, okay, oh, I haven't thought I was going to be here. I thought I'm going to be a little bit less growth. No, I just go ahead. What's in front of us? What are the opportunities? Is there something that we're missing? If so, let's add it, and then let's just go full force. That's they say the pedal to the metal, just go full force,
Yeah.
and wherever you land, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, don't let anything. Because some people, if they put like, I get why people put goals, and that's important because they want to achieve something. But to me, maybe I'm it's different for me. I just like to extract the opportunity that I have as much as I can, and this would kind of guarantee me to land the furthest that I can, right? So that's how I look at things.
That's an
So,
interesting
but
way to
yeah,
think of it.
but looking at it now, it's like I'm very grateful for where we are now, but I think there's still a long way to go. There's still more opportunity to extract. So yeah, that's how I approach it. I don't really spend too much time looking back and okay, I mean honestly, I feel that we didn't do anything yet, so which is very odd. Yeah, like oh shit, I did all that, but no, there's still more to do. So I think it's just a mentality.
Yeah, it's so interesting because like there are a lot of ideas colliding there, first of all,
Yeah,
which is that thing you say about opportunity to extract is a really good way to step out of this scorekeeping mentality. Because as an entrepreneur, it's so easy to
yeah,
get caught up in the scorekeeping mentality, which is which is where goals lead to. Which is that, oh, I want to make X amount of money by this time. I want to do this. But I really like that framework of just saying to yourself, okay, this is an opportunity. So how can I extract as much possible value from this opportunity? And to do that, I have to do the work. But
yeah.
then the part where it kind of collides for me is when you say, okay, we've not done anything. Because you guys have done stuff.
No, no,
you
we've
know?
done stuff, but to me, it's is yeah. No, to me, it's like okay, we've done a lot, but there's still a lot to
to
go.
be done.
Because I think once you're in the trenches, is very, and I think that's why. Because once you're in the trenches, you don't
Yeah.
see what you have done. Like you
Yeah.
can't see the road back, so you're just looking ahead in front of you. And I think once we get in the position where we have, let's say, I don't know, a big exit, whether we IPO or sell to the company, then I might sit back and relax and reflect of on what have we done, and yeah, so yeah, that's how I look at things.
if you if you think about it, you said this thing which I found interesting, which is you've not done business anywhere else, so you
Mm.
started running a business in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I agree and disagree to some extent.
Okay, that's
So
totally
I
fine.
agree to start there. There's that, but I also think that um you know you, there's a basal level of home that is probably in you that we don't always understand. It's just like do you get what I'm saying? Like there are things that are guiding you that are things you learn from either watching your dad or your mom and uncle or people around you who run businesses at that point in time. So I do think there's that. And I'm wondering now that I'm asking you this question, if you reflect on that, on this thing I'm just raising right now,
Mm-hmm.
and think about how you've approached building this thing over these past 5 years, are there some things because we'll get to this point where we'll still get to discuss this part is like you're building in Canada, but you still say, oh, you still able to say, okay, but we do things a bit slower here. And I'm wondering where is that coming from? What's driving that? Like what's driving the US expansion, for example? Like what are all the things because I mean, if it was just Canadian way of doing business that you didn't know any, you just this is here and this is all I know. I don't know if you
Yeah,
really.
no, I see your point. I mean, I guess if I grew up here, it would be a little bit different, right? Because life is I don't know, slow here. Maybe I don't know. I didn't grow up here, so I wouldn't be the person to talk about it.
Yeah.
I came to Canada in 2018. Now, I think naturally, right? Entrepreneurs have a sense of urgency always, and a sense of achievement, and a sense of thinking big, and that's was with me the whole time. Now, I wouldn't be able to comment on whether I've learned something from home, in regards to building businesses, because I didn't really go that deep. People
Mm.
around me, like I was in school, right? So like I was not really around people talking to them about business. We were talking about, I don't know, let's go out, let's play FIFA or something. So it wasn't talks about business, but it was in the back of my head. In Turkey, that those conversations started to happen. I wanted to do something in Turkey, but of course, language barrier, and I was studying
Yeah.
medicine, so it was not gonna go anywhere because I was already in school. But when it came to Canada, I, as anybody else, you envision Canada as similar to the U.S. So you would think Canada and U.S. are the same, so they're both fast. And then because that's what people understand of North America,
Yeah.
especially U.S. and Canada, not
Yeah.
Mexico. So you understand that, okay, big companies are there, things move fast, economy is big. So that was the idea that I came into Canada thinking about. So I assumed that
Yeah.
Canada's fast, but then I realized it's not as fast anymore. And I think with the rise of social media and YouTube and podcasts and people, I think you can see the other side of things, and
Yeah. Much better.
because you're close to the SO, look at these big companies like Airbnb and those big marketplaces. Look at what they're doing and how fast they grew. So I was looking at these companies, and I knew they were all U.S. companies. So I knew there's not a lot in Canada. Well, there's only Shopify that I know of. It's a big tech company. I don't know any other company, but in the U.S., I can count you a lot of tech companies that are big, that are global. So I was started to look at the US more than I'm looking at where I am now, because if I focus on Canada, my, I would say, vision would be much less than if I were just looking at the US. And I think this is where it came from, right? But I do think naturally entrepreneurs have the sense of urgency and sense of growth, and especially at a young age, right? In your 20s, you're like a sponge. I mean, you're adapt to your environment, and my environment was just, okay, I'm by myself here, I need to do something. And ambition, I was ambitious, and I was looking at different people, how they are successful with different companies, and you start to adopt that. But if you grew up back home till maybe, because they say that your frontal lobe develops when you're 25, 26. So I think if you developed a certain mentality back home and you come here and you try to change that, that would be difficult. But I'm very grateful that I came to Canada in my 20s, because I was very adaptable to whatever I wanted to go, and I knew that I wanted to go that approach. I'm like, okay, I can quickly adapt to that, and it wasn't going to be that difficult.
Hmm.
So
That's
yeah.
fair. Fair enough in a way. you know. The other, I mean, the sad part is just the Canada US thing. I always think about it a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish we had a much bigger market here. Before we get to talking about Canada itself in much more detail, if you think back, like, what are the biggest lessons you've learned so far this past 5 years?
uh, Biggest lesson so far, I mean, this is a common one. The more you know, the more that you realize you don't know. That's very important. You need to always be learning, right? Knowledge is very important. Um, I would say don't, and that's a tough one. People might not like this one. I would say don't celebrate success too early. A lot of people, they celebrate success. Okay, we have achieved this or we've achieved that. So if that was the end goal, then that's great. But if you celebrate way too much, I think you trick your brain. There's going to be a dopamine release that, okay, I've already made it. So you're not going to take more action afterwards. So try to you know not celebrate as much as you can. It's just like with the NBA team, right? You make it to the playoffs and they throw a big party, they celebrate. They'll get comfortable because they think they made it, but they didn't win the championship. So I think that's very important. That's a big
Mm,
lesson that I learned. I see a lot of people, they celebrate, and that's it for them. So to me, only celebrate the big win that you wanted in life. If your big win is to, I don't know, a certain thing, and you achieve that, then there you go. But if you celebrate way too much those ones in between, I think that is I would say not good. Maybe it will slow you down a little bit. So that's, I would say, the second thing. Um, the third thing, I would say, just be truthful and be honest in business. I think a lot of people like that, and it's important to have, even though sometimes it's not the best thing to do. But I think being honest will go the long way, and it will benefit you in the long term. Also, you don't have to remember what you lied about, and that's something that people
Yes.
struggle with. Someone tells me something and they're lying, and then some other day they tell me something else. They didn't realize that they told me something else like the first time. So
Yeah.
if you lie, you're gonna forget what you lied about, which is gonna make it more difficult. So I just be honest, man. Like in the beginning. Um, this is the third thing. You asked me two more things. Uh, Let me think about it. Big lessons I've learned. What I would add to this, actually, no. I mean, those are the three big lessons
That's
I would
okay.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
okay.
can't think about two more. If I think about two more, I'll say it.
Yeah, that's okay. I think the other thing I was going to add to what you were saying was, first of all, about lying is that
Yeah,
one reason why you shouldn't lie, I think, is that if you lie too much to people, I think your brain doesn't have it's something you learn as your brain doesn't know how to separate between when you're lying to yourself and when you're lying to others.
yeah.
So when you lie
We're
to
very
people,
bad at lying.
yeah, you also start to lie to yourself, and which is really bad. And you can get into some really, so you don't tell yourself the truth about yourself because your brain doesn't have what they call typeface. It can't separate between what you're saying to Abdullah and what I'm saying to myself. I'm talking, and it's just taking all that in. Then the other thing I was going to add is that I read somewhere that entrepreneurship teaches you to be in, about your point about not celebrating too much. When you're building a business, you get to this point where you are at this middle, like you stay at the middle because you're never too low, you're never too high, because literally you've seen a lot of downs and you've seen a lot of ups. And so the
Hmm.
best entrepreneurs somehow find a way to just stay in the middle of, because they know that you can be up today and tomorrow, like
Yeah,
something happens and you're back ground zero, and
yeah,
then you keep going up again. So they don't celebrate too much. They also
yeah.
don't cry about failure too much because they know it can change. You just
There
need
you
to
go.
just keep going. That point you make about that.
Yeah, and I think that's another part I would say that when it's like a very good day, okay, I'm happy, but I'm not gonna be super happy. But if it's a
Hmm.
bad day, also I'm not gonna feel that bad. I'm just like, it is what it is. I just gotta keep moving
Yeah.
forward. So I think I do agree with that middle point, because good days are gonna be some days are gonna be very good, some days are gonna be very bad. And if you let your emotion be tied to that, it's gonna be a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Now on to Canada.
yeah,
You all keep opening up businesses in the US.
yeah.
And in your article, you talked about, you know, basically, you said Canada needs to become far more pro business. If you think about what you've experienced so far, is it possible to kind of break that up into tactical stuff, like from Abdullah's story, like the things that make you think that why we need to become more pro business?
Okay, I'll talk from my experience,
Yes,
right? I
fair.
don't know what other businesses are experiencing, because some people might say Canada is great for businesses, right? So, in
Yeah,
specific industries, they
fair.
might be doing very well. But especially when we first started, right? Um, let's say funding ideas was very difficult. Canada is very stuck with, you know, real estate, they're amazing. No problem. Real estate will give you money. When it comes to something that's just a tiny bit risky, they back off, and they don't want to take risks unless you have, like, 20 million guarantees, and you can do this. So I think that stops a lot of businesses from starting. Also, another thing that we've experienced, me and Reza, because Reza deals with that more, is VCs, Canadian VCs. Canadian VCs are very small minded, they're very slow, and they're just, for lack of a better word, not good. Not the same as the US. Like, they don't understand markets that much. And I think A lot of them are complacent, right? They think they know what they're doing, but they don't. I'm talking about the majority, not everybody, but some of them, like, you just can't like, you can't really see the opportunity. Like, you're like, they have like a checkbox of thing they want to try to check, and if it doesn't check one thing, it's gone. But they don't know that, things can be different, right?
Yeah.
So just because it happened in the past in a certain way doesn't mean it's going to repeat itself the same way, but it's a little bit different. I don't know if I explained it properly, um, but they do take risks on something that's more stupid with no revenue, with nothing. So it's just crazy to me how they think. So that's part of it too. VCs, funding businesses. That's definitely a struggle here. Than the US. US VCs are much better, much understanding. They want you to think big. They want you to grow. They're more risk averse. And I think from another fact that I would say in Canada is they're very risk averse. They don't like to take the tiniest risks. And I think in business, to succeed, you have to take risks. I think that's okay. That's one a fourth lesson I want to say. You have to take risks. If you don't take risks, you're not gonna go where you want to go. You will fail. That's fine, but you can always keep moving forward. And I think Canada is very risk averse. They don't want to take risks. What if? What if? What if? What if? To me, I just like, okay, there's a wall, just go through it. If I fall, okay, I'll get it back up and keep moving. Because if you don't take risks, you're not gonna go anywhere. Because other people are risk averse, and if you're the one taking the risk, then you can definitely succeed. So yeah, I would say they're very risk averse. That's a big factor in Canada.
I wonder if, I mean, going back to what we were talking in the pre-show before we started recording about market sizes,
Yeah,
population size, but I started thinking also, as you just said, I was like, I wonder if it's also a function of the kind of economy we're coming from,
yeah,
which is,
and
for
also
example, yeah,
the buying power in the U.S. is much
it's
better.
much more, much more
Yeah,
better. Yeah, that's that.
hmm
But there's also, when you have a people who have made money from certain kind of things,
hmm
farming, mining,
mm.
oil, groceries of recent.
Yeah, these are
I
very
want,
good. Yeah,
yeah, I wonder if that kind of economic building power mentality means that our VCs themselves are also beholden to that thing. Because, I mean, you're not the first person to say this, honestly.
yeah,
You're not the first person to talk about how raising in the US is much easier. They're much more open. I mean, we could also talk about the grant system that, like, it's good, but sometimes it feels like there are more grants than VCs, and then grants come with things that are not exactly very great for the businesses themselves. Like, there's just a ton of things, and I'm just wondering there's whether there's is all part of a mix of how did we make money as a country before, because I think we used to be a mercantile country, to be honest. Like, we were mostly farmers and merchants and minesmen and stuff, and then
yeah,
all of a sudden you have all these kids roaming around saying, hey, come fund me because I want to build XYZ, and the guy's like, hey, I fund guys who have land, and which is also probably why real estate is much easier for them to put money, because real estate is like, oh, I know that he has the building permit and he has the land, and I can always come back and seize the house if he doesn't pay, if he doesn't raise them.
yeah. There you go. And
But
I
if you
think
say,
Canada,
I don't know,
yeah,
gosh. Sorry,
that's
you
crazy.
think Canada is what? Sorry, yeah, continue.
Yeah, I think that's like, I'll be honest with you. I didn't really read too much history about Canada, how they made their money, but you're saying that it's a lot of mining and farming and real estate, which I understand that, but that's slow growth, right? I mean, what's the average you can make from real estate? I don't know, 12% on a good year. You see the U.S. Inventions, innovations, always from the U.S. Why? Because they're willing to take a little bit more risk. Yes, there's more failures, but on the long term, they'll succeed more as a country than
Yeah.
us. I think if we stay the same way we are, we're gonna be left behind eventually. Because look at China, man. Like China
Uh,
is Middle East too. I grew up in Saudi. They're moving very quick. They're moving very fast. Um, look at Europe. What's happening to it? You know, for the past 10, 20 years, I mean, Europe is Europe. I mean, there's nothing there. I mean, economy is bad, no innovation, very risk averse, like not a lot of ambition, and then you'll die off eventually. So yeah, I think Canada will go the same route if we keep doing what we're doing and we're not really innovating and really wanting to succeed and be pioneers in certain industries. So
Yeah. I mean, I do think we have some hard conversations as a country to have because one, the world is changing.
yeah,
The world is changing seriously. Like it's not the world it used to be. The other part is obvious that right now we don't have the US isn't exactly what it used to be for Canada, right? And the ramifications, I don't even know what all the ramifications are of what has happened in the past 2 years, what it means for the future for the country.
right.
And so it means we need to have some very hard conversations, or like you said, at some point we'll look back on this time and be like, we missed an opportunity to grow.
Yeah, yeah. And then also the one thing that I told you as well, that a lot of these politicians and people in charge, they'll get there, they'll make sure that they take care of themselves and their families, and if the country goes down with it, then might as well. So they're very selfish. I think that's the word. It's very selfish. They come in, they make their buddies rich and themselves rich, and okay, they have the money. Okay, I'll step down, but they don't know that they affected millions and millions of people, and they stopped, I don't know, innovation, or stopped the country from becoming better. So I think there's a lot of selfishness, and they say they don't do something, but they say something else. So I think it starts from up top. The leadership. The leadership's not there.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
That
yeah,
topic is
yeah. Leadership is not there. I mean, you can see what happens to countries when there's a certain amount of leadership. I mean, look what happened to El Salvador. Now it's one of the safest countries in South America. Why? Because he decided to do something, and I'm okay. It's
yeah.
for the people, because he could have. Again, I don't know what the politics there are, but he could have took money from, I don't know, the cartel and made himself money. But he said, no, what? No, you guys are all going to jail. We're gonna lock you all guys all up, and he made it for the people. That's why he has 80% voting rate, or 80% or more. So that's a good leader for that certain part. So if you look at in the Middle East, right? The leaders over there, they want their country to thrive and evolve and become pioneers in certain industries. Lots of fundings in different aspects. They're growing very much. They're building stuff. They're doing stuff. So it all comes down from leadership. Now look at Trump now. So I mean, a lot of people hate Trump. A lot of people like Trump, but he is trying to be, you know, pro US, right? He's trying to, make the country great again, let's say. Yes, there's a lot of, things behind the curtains, but he already has money, right? And I think that's part of it too. I mean, the guy's is a billionaire. He doesn't care about money. He already has money. He wants to build a legacy, and he wants to build, that I make, US great again. And we don't have that character in Canada yet. So I think that's part of it, maybe.
I mean, some people would argue with you that they still think Trump has a lot of issues despite the fact that he has money. And I mean, because there's some people
Yeah,
who would
yeah,
argue
of
otherwise
course.
with you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's always arguments about politics, so you can't agree with everyone in politics. That's impossible. Yeah.
We're kind of rounding up here. And one thing I want to understand is now, despite all this, despite all what you've said about Canada and stuff, I mean, I know you all are growing fast in the States, which
Mhm.
is interesting. How long do you think we have you in Canada before you get out?
Ah, honestly, I would say. I mean, okay. So one thing that I give Canada, there's some good programs. I'm not sure if people in tech would understand what I'm saying, but there's Shred. Shred is very good for Canadian tech companies because they give you back the money that you pay for employees that are software developers, which is great. So there's some good incentives in Canada that are not present in the US. Now, talent is cheaper a little bit here than the US, but US you get better talent. So I would, to answer the question, I wouldn't say that I'm like, it's not like something I'm planning to leave. I still didn't get to that process yet.
Okay.
So I would say if something might happen in the next couple of weeks, I'm like, you know what? Okay, we got to move to the US. But as of now, I'm here, and I don't think I'm moving anytime soon. For at least maybe a year, I would say, and then eventually we
Yeah, it's
can.
not soon, Abdullah.
Yeah, to me that's not soon.
Yeah, like 12 months, man. It just, I mean, I saw you I saw you early September. So, okay, there. But
Yeah,
that's 2 months gone
yeah,
already, like almost 2 months
that's
gone
crazy.
already.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
time
that's why I say,
flies.
yeah, time flies as an adult. So,
Yeah, time flies. Yeah, I would say maybe I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't know. We haven't started the process. Okay, you know what? We need to start the process in the U.S. Let's look for how we can move there. We haven't started that yet, so I wouldn't say I'm moving anytime soon.
5 years. I know you don't talk about goals a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
What's year 10 gonna look like for Panda Hub?
Year 10. Okay. Well, we do have goals. I don't really um, get stuck to them too much because people get stuck on the goals and they think they made it. The next 5 years, I would say we are the biggest marketplace for car care. We are in US and Canada, potentially some countries in Europe like UK and also Australia as well, the big four English speaking countries. We have different services and we are either close to IPO or close to a big exit. So we're like the Airbnb of car care. That's I would say the next 5 years, and it's very achievable. I think. I mean, what we've done the past 5 years is amazing, and I think what we'll do the next five is gonna even be better because we do have the data that we see what we did and we know what we can do. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So here's to the Airbnb of car care.
or Uber of car care. Yeah,
I like that idea actually.
because Airbnb is a booking platform. Uber is on demand.
Yeah.
We're not on demand.
Yeah.
We're schedule based.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's the
Yeah,
difference. Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Yeah. Makes sense.
yeah.
Thank you
So
so
there
much.
you have it. Absolutely. I was very, very happy to be on the podcast today.
Thank you. I mean, I'm honored that I'm your first podcaster. Yeah, that's
Oh yeah, it was my first podcast. So there
I'm
you
honored
go.
to that. Thank you so much. Everyone, there you have it. That's Abdullah. As always, please, if you found this useful, send to someone who's gonna enjoy it. If you know someone like Abdullah I should talk to, send them my way. We're on Substack, YouTube, anywhere you find your podcast, you can find the story on there. Peace out.